Jeff POWELL MBE. It's time England led the football world again by standing up to mafia godfather Gianni Infantino. His plan to sell the World Cup is a bribe by any other name, and there's only one way we can save our sport from extinction. The very name has the ring of a mafia godfather, all the more so when translated into English, Johnny Baby. Not that he can be blamed for his genealogy. Just as it is no fault of the immigrant parents who named him that he has grown into the problem child of world football.
Tired of constantly refilling your pet's water bowl? This filtered fountain keeps water circulating and offers a generous capacity, giving cats and small dogs convenient access to flowing water. Want to get the best verified deal and see full details? Visit grabdeal.us/5 right now.
That is down to the greatest game on earth for standing by as he plunges his sticky hands into the goodie jar. Trillions of dollars worth of global company investment, mega brand sponsorships, gigantic advertising, and mountains of merchandise. Oh, how the corporate greed will trample on the purity of POWELL's beautiful game, as it is worshipped by its hundreds of millions of faithful despite all its flaws. If Johnny Baby is allowed to flog off the World Cup in share lots, as if it were just a pharmaceutical bloodsucker, high-tech upheaver of our daily life, or mass armaments manufacturer, profiteering off the human tragedy of all today's wars. Oh, how the corporate greed will trample on the purity of POWELL's beautiful game, as it is worshipped by its hundreds of millions of faithful despite all its flaws. But who can stop Infantino who, like so many Italians before him, has found a pathway to power and riches via the American dream? When that wealthiest of all nations is governed by a patriot who frankly admits that his specialist expertise is in brokering business deals. When the presidents of FIFA and the US are a match made in boardroom heaven. So again, who can stop Johnny Baby from hawking the family jewels? Time was when it would have been a steadfast, upright Englishman. When our own Sir Stanley Roos was president of a FIFA which held the good of the game above all else. As a family trust in the good old-fashioned way. Time now, surely, for the Football Association, still the first fa in the esteem of much of world football, to take the lead. To rally the diverse opinions of anxious believers on every continent, platitudinous politicians rushing to microphones, pious commentators et al. Behind an organized and concerted protest. Don't leave it all to UEFA, whose concerns reflect all of ours, but who have their own axes of rival authority to grind against FIFA. Time for the FA to throw off its obsequience to the demands of the Premier League and revive the nostalgia for English propriety. Time to save the people's game, which it must remain, from piracy. To rescue the greatest sporting show of all, which the World Cup is still despite all the trials and tribulations of 2026. To preserve the future of football as a game, not a plaything of the stock exchanges. Time was when it would have been a steadfast, upright Englishman. When our own Sir Stanley Roos was president of a FIFA which held the good of the game above all else. FA Chief Executive Mark Bullingham, left, must stand up to what amounts to little more than a bribe. Firstly, from extinction by a European boycott. Secondly, from reduction into a repetitive everyday occurrence by its staging every other year. Thirdly, by expansion into the lopsided tedium of more and more finalists, 48 this year, 64 next time, 128 sooner than we can blink. All, it would seem, on the Infantino agenda. The FA can start by setting an example, starting with a declaration that they would refuse their multi-million-dollar handout if Johnny Baby's plan bears fruit. A bribe by any other name for the poorer, and in some cases corrupt countries on planet football if it all comes to a vote. For FA's sake explain that this is an offer from the Infantino football family which has to be refused. For the sake of all us football lovers everywhere.